Hey everyone, it's Yvonne Inglesos here from the Eating Disorder Recovery Hub, and today I'm talking about relationships and eating disorders. So, most people that talk to me talk about the fact that the eating disorder is impacting their relationships, that it's basically they isolate themselves, the eating disorder is making them want to stay at home, not to interact with anyone, not go out because they don't know what to eat at restaurants. And, if they're trying to follow a meal plan, it's too difficult. And, it's getting in the way of family. And basically, they argue with everyone because they feel like their eating disorder is the source of all problems. So I'm going to throw a spanner in the works. So I am going to talk to you about the fact that I think, and I know that a lot of other professionals also believe, that eating disorders are relationship disorders. What do I mean by this? Okay, so say you're someone who struggles with binge eating, right? If binge eating disorder is the disorder you're struggling with, then in actual fact, you will binge on relationships, you will binge on your time in relationships, you will then not know how to have healthy boundaries, just like you don't know how to have healthy boundaries with food, right? So what you do with your food is what you do with relationships. So let's look at someone who has struggles with anorexia or restricting. They will trust very, very few people, right? And it might be they trust their mum because they're very close with their mum, or they have only a couple of friends. And even when they do have people around them, they may have lots of people around them, but in actual fact, they don't have really deep, right, authentic relationships because they don't share a lot of themselves. So they restrict things in their life the same way they restrict food. Now, bulimia. If we're gonna, and I'll just talk about these three. I know there's other eating disorders, but I'll talk about these three because they're the main ones, right? And I'll do some other lives on the other disorders later on. But if you struggle with bulimia, right, the thing that you usually do is the same way you binge on food. So you take people in, you're lots of fun, you're partying sometimes, you hang out with people, and I can talk about this one because I went through a period of the eating disorder years struggling with bulimia where I would really spend heaps of time with people. So I met a new guy, and I was out dating, and I would spend all my time with him, and then when something went wrong in that relationship, I would almost end it immediately. He would have no idea what the hell was going on. He wouldn't even have a say in what was going on because I would purge him out. So basically, I made all the decisions by myself. And never, I remember the first time Sue, my partner now, my partner who said to me, you make decisions outside the relationship. And I thought, what the fuck is she talking about? Because it didn't make sense to me when she said, you're making decisions outside the relationship. I thought, isn't that how everyone makes decisions? You just make a decision on how you feel, and it doesn't really matter if the other person knows or not. And that's really how someone with an eating disorder thinks, right? So people think that eating disorders are the biggest issue and they're the problem keeping you away from being able to have relationships. In actual fact, it's because you struggle in relationships that you have an eating disorder. So it's the other way around. So say, for example, you are someone who does people please, because that's been a massive post on our Facebook community, and so many people have commented about it being something they relate to. If you're a people pleaser, right, it's because you can't say no. So same thing with not being able to say no to other people. You can't say no to food, or you can't say no to the eating disorder behaviors, right? So when you're treating yourself like shit and not looking after yourself, the reality is you don't know how to do that in relationship, so you can't do it with yourself either, right? So Jamie, I suffer with anorexia and struggling at the moment. I'm getting so many people contact me saying the very same thing. And I want you to think about this particular topic where I'm talking about relationships and how they are impacted in when you have an eating disorder. Think about the fact that it's relationships you struggle with most, and then it's a fallout in the eating disorder, right? So if anorexia is what you're struggling with, Jamie, at the moment, what I would say to you is take a look at your life and where your relationships currently are, right? And this is for anybody that listens to this later on. When you are struggling in relationships, when you struggle with vulnerability, when you have a whole heap of shame that paralyzes you and doesn't allow you to reach out to anyone, the thing that comes up and it pretends to be your nice little friend is the eating disorder. And it feels like the very thing you can trust, but it's also the very thing that's betraying you. And I know this happens for lots of people with eating disorders because they feel like the eating disorder is their best friend, but then they hate it at the very same time. So being able to trust someone is important, but the very fact you have an eating disorder means that for some reason, early on in your life, you learnt that it was safer to focus on food, focus on your body, than it was to trust relationships. So for everyone, I want you to think about what's happened in your life. So it could be that you couldn't openly speak about your feelings, that you couldn't trust people, that you couldn't be trust that you were being heard and listened to. So you end up focusing on food, on weight, on your body. Now the thing is, people don't want to hear this because what they want to know is that there's just a simple, easy fix by focusing on food, focusing on meal plans. It doesn't work like that. If you can start to actually see that if we work on how you are in relationships, how trusting you are or how you're not at the moment, and how you can try to be a little bit more vulnerable, then you will start to see shifts in your eating disorder behavior, guys. It's not the other way around. People think when I'm more confident, then I will start to be assertive, or when I'm more confident, then I can set some boundaries. It doesn't happen like that. You need to be doing the stuff in relationship with other people, and then your behaviors start to change, right? So yes, this is what I'm saying, is that people who just focus on changing their behaviors around food, weight, body image, all of that, you will leave yourself in the space that I call relapse land, right? So if that's all you focus on, that's all you're going to get. You're going to stay in a space where you will relapse because all you have focused on in your recovery is food, weight, body, and that's all you focus on. If you focus on how you are in relationships, if you focus on how you struggle with shame in relationships, how you struggle with vulnerability in relationships, you will start to get yourself to a place where the behaviors start changing, right? So people that struggle with anorexia, if they're looking at a meal plan, they are freaking out, okay? Because the meal plans are usually, you know, have a hell of a lot of food on them. And for example, it's too difficult to try and follow that. So if you work on changing how you are in relationships, so trusting someone despite the fact that you really struggle with it, this is really where you're going to start to see the change. So Jamie is saying, sorry, I'm so fuzzy, I have so many things I want to say but can't. That's okay. Jamie, send me a private message. I can do a Facebook Live that will help you in the next few days. For the moment, just think about the fact that relationships are where you need to focus to then get the changes that you want in food, in the eating disorder behaviors. Most people do it the other way around and it keeps you stuck. So if you can think about the fact that you do more work, change work in relationships, in how you are open to other people and how vocal you are to other people, how you communicate to other people, that will translate into changes in the eating disorder behaviors, and it will quieten the mind. It will mean that your mind will not be so busy with thoughts around hating your body, around food, around weight, around what diet to follow next, and how fat you think you are. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Jamie, don't forget, please send me a private message. I will respond to you. And anyone else, send me a private message. I would love to hear what you want to hear in these lives. Okay, see you later. Bye.